you all going?
Sambuchi.
I'm also going to Sambuchi.
This painting is cursed.
I don't think I can stay here. You're not leaving, Lisa.
If you give life to this canvas, it will curse you. Forever.
The movie begins in 1993 with a scene of a girl traveling on a bus. After some time, 3 people board the bus and introduce themselves as Tracy, Tony, and Madison. The girl introduces herself as Lisa. She asks them where they are headed, and Madison replies, Sambuchi. Lisa responds that she is also going there, mentioning that she is a restorer who specializes in restoring paintings. Tracy shares that they are biologists traveling to Sambuchi to study the local fauna. Late at night, they all arrive in Sambuchi. At a certain point, Lisa informs them that her hotel is in a different direction, but expresses interest in meeting up with them on their day off. Tracy mentions that they will be free in a few days and will come to see her then. With that, they bid each other goodbye and part ways. The next morning, Lisa is seen waiting at a bus stop. A man approaches her and informs her that the bus has already left. He asks where she is headed, and she tells him Malvisi Mansion. He offers to help and introduces himself as Marcus, and Lisa shares her name as well. Marcus escorts her to the mansion and, before leaving, mentions that he runs a nearby pub. He invites her to visit whenever she has time. With that, they part ways. The scene transitions to Lisa sitting at Malvisi Mansion. A woman enters and introduces herself as Emma Fosca Malvisi. Emma leads Lisa to the painting that needs restoration. Lisa picks up her bags and follows Emma. Emma shows her the painting and explains that it was damaged in a fire. Lisa asks, who is the artist? Emma informs Arcano, an artist from the 1500s. He is known for his ability of painting the unknown. Lisa remarks that it is heavily damaged and would require about a month to restore. However, Emma interrupts her, insisting that the restoration must be completed within 2 weeks, as the painting is set to be part of an exclusive auction in London. Emma then asks, "Didn't your father warn you about the urgency?" Lisa responds, "Yes, I'll get started immediately." She requests permission to sleep in the room with the painting, explaining that it will help her better connect with the work. Emma agrees and exits the room. Lisa promptly begins working on restoring the painting. As she focuses on her task, she suddenly hears a woman singing. Intrigued, she decides to investigate. Following the sound, she spots a girl singing a haunting melody. Lisa approaches her, but as soon as she gently taps the girl on the shoulder, the girl abruptly runs away into the mansion. The scene transitions to Tony, setting up a mic in the woods. As he relaxes in his tent afterward, he hears a strange noise and decides to investigate. Venturing deeper into the woods, his voice is soon heard shouting, "Who are you?" followed by screams of pain. Startled by the screams, Tracy and Madison wake up. Madison leaves Tracy alone and goes into the woods to search for Tony. While looking, she discovers Tony's cap stained with blood. She returns to the tent and insists that they need to go to the police. Before they can act, someone suddenly grabs Madison's neck and takes her away, leaving Tracy alone and terrified. As Tracy tries to sneak out of the tent in fear, someone strikes her on the head and she collapses. The scene shifts to Madison, who is trapped behind bars in a dimly lit cell. She notices a man named Rocco vomiting in another cell. She asks, "Who are you?" But Rocco continues to vomit without responding. As she looks around, she sees Tracy in a nearby cell and, moments later, spots Tony in another cell as well. The scene transitions to a dinner table, where Lisa is having dinner with Emma and her daughter, Julia. Trying to make conversation, Lisa asks Julia, "What grade are you in?" Julia, however, abruptly drops her fork and leaves the table without a word. Emma explains that Julia doesn't attend school because she suffers from a personality disorder and refuses to accept that she is 13 years old. Hearing this, Lisa thanks Emma for the dinner and excuses herself for the evening. The scene then shifts to someone entering the area with the cells. The figure looks around carefully before locking the door behind them. Then that strange man named Aruda is revealed, who begins observing each prisoner silently. From one of the cells, Rocco warns, "Don't look at him. Tony, unable to control his fear, screams, demanding to open the door. Aruda remains silent and walks over to a nearby well. He lowers a vessel into the well, retrieves it, and sets it aside. Suddenly, in a fit of rage, he approaches Tony's cell and begins beating him mercilessly. He strikes Tony repeatedly, breaking his hand and delivering brutal punches to his face. Tony desperately crawls in an attempt to escape. Without hesitation, Aruda stabs Tony in the back with a knife, drags his limp body to the well, and throws him in. The other prisoners scream in horror. The scene cuts to Lisa diligently working on the painting. As she focuses on her task, she hears a faint noise. Dismissing it, she tries to concentrate. While cleaning the painting, she uncovers a strange, eerie face hidden beneath the layers of damage. Intrigued, she attempts to scrape away a burnt damage from the face. Suddenly, a piercing scream echoes, startling her. In the shock, she accidentally cuts her finger with the tool she is using. Reeling in pain, Lisa removes her glove, and her blood splashes onto the painting. Later that night, Lisa struggles to work due to her hand injury, yet she persists. Suddenly, the lights go out. Just then, she notices someone entering her room and realizes it's her father. He says, "I should never have trusted you," and slits his throat in front of her. Lisa recoils in fear, and then she suddenly realizes it was her vision. The scene then cuts to the cell, where Rocco is attempting to escape, but his cutter suddenly breaks. He tells Madison there's a passage, but his tool is damaged. He says, "Once I'm out, I'll bring help." Madison throws a cutter at him, but it lands far away. After a brief struggle, he manages to grab it. While Lisa is sleeping, someone enters her room. The entity slowly approaches her and lies down next to her. It begins touching her inappropriately, gradually moving its hand to her neck. Suddenly, it starts strangling her. Lisa becomes terrified upon seeing the entity. It haunts her, and suddenly she wakes up in a chair, noticing the painting. To her shock, the entity she saw in her dream has emerged on the painting. She begins hearing mumbling and crying voices as tears fall from her eyes. Just then, something drops, and as she bends down to pick it up, we see Julia standing behind her. Julia says, "Run away, this painting is cursed." She explains, she is a witch, and her name is Dorca. If you give life to this canvas, you will be haunted forever. Julia then leaves. The scene then shifts to Lisa with Marcus. She tells him about her terrifying experiences in the mansion. Marcus tries to comfort her, suggesting that perhaps her feelings are due to the new place she's in. The scene cuts to Aruda entering the cell area. He walks to the well and drops a vessel into it. Hands emerge from the well, one slitting its forearm with the other hand's nail, dripping blood into the vessel. Aruda then pulls the vessel back up and sets it aside, then heads to Rocco's cell. Madison tells Tracy, "If Rocco dies, we're done for." She distracts Aruda by screaming, "I am not afraid of you." Aruda approaches her, grabs her by the neck, and lifts her off the ground. He then throws her back, unlocks her cell door, and drags her out. He cuts Madison's hand in two, dragging her further. He picks up another tool and strikes her with it, healing and stretching the skin from her back. Then, he uses the tool to pull out her eye. Finally, he takes her to the well and throws her into it. In the well, an entity approaches Madison. The entity begins feeding on her neck, then tears apart her stomach and pulls out her intestines. It lets out a scream, and eventually, Madison dies. Then we see Lisa and Julia are talking. When Lisa asks, "What's going on exactly?" Julia replies, "My mother always thinks only of herself and has completely ruined my life." Just then, Emma enters and scolds Julia for what she's sharing. She then tells Lisa to come with her. Lisa asks Emma, "Julia told me some unsettling stories about the painting. Do you know anything about it?" Emma responds. She makes up terrifying stories and has the strangest fantasies. Don't listen to her. Emma then warns Lisa to focus on her work, reminding her that according to the contract, any delays in delivery will result in heavy penalties. Later that night, while Lisa is sleeping, a girl enters her room, crying and pushing a wheelchair. Lisa wakes up, terrified, to see Tony sitting in the wheelchair with broken legs and hands, his body covered in injuries. Behind him stands Tracy, crying. Tracy pleads, "Help us," as Tony suddenly opens his eyes. The scene cuts to Lisa with Marcus, where she shares her nightmares and expresses her desire to leave the place. However, she admits she can't due to the binding contract. Marcus suggests she focus on completing her work as quickly as possible and tries to comfort her. Later, Lisa is seen taking some medicine when she suddenly hears someone crying. She cautiously goes to investigate and pulls back the curtain, only to be horrified by the sight of Madison, severely injured and crying in a bathtub. Overwhelmed with fear, Lisa runs and collides with Emma. Emma turns off the tap and accuses Lisa of taking drugs. She inspects the painting and scolds Lisa for not taking her work seriously. Emma sternly warns her that if the work isn't completed on time, she will regret it. Next, we see Rocco working to open the passage. After much effort, he finally manages to unlock it. As he attempts to enter, a hand suddenly grabs his neck. The entity peels the skin off his face and begins devouring it, ultimately killing him. Hearing his agonizing screams, Tracy cries out in terror. Then we see Emma in front of a mirror, sipping a drink. In the reflection, we see Dorca, revealing that Emma is the mastermind behind everything that has been happening. While Lisa is working on the painting, there's a knock at the door. She opens it and Julia enters the room. She tells Lisa, "This painting was created in 1493. They sacrificed Billy to summon a monstrous being named Goran, and that's how they captured him." She continues, "My mother demanded this curse to use Goran's blood for eternal youth. If the red moon shines on the painting tonight before midnight, the curse will renew for another 500 years, and that must not happen." Lisa, skeptical, responds, "You have a vivid imagination, but I have to finish my work." Julia then reveals details about the last 3 victims captured 2 girls, one black and one with blonde hair, and a guy. Lisa asks, "Are you sure?" Then Julia leads her to the location where the prisoners are being held. As they approach, they see Aruda unlocking a door and descending into the basement. Just then, Emma calls for Julia, and she reluctantly leaves. Determined to help the captives, Lisa arms herself for protection and cautiously heads downstairs to rescue Tracy, Tony, and Madison. She slips through a door and follows Aruda down to the basement. She watches Aruda enter the cell room, but accidentally knocks over metal rods, quickly hiding in panic. Aruda steps out to investigate. In her hiding spot, she catches a horrifying glimpse of severed hands and legs crawling with maggots. Aruda glances around, but assumes the noise was caused by rats and heads back into the room. Tracy freezes in terror as Aruda approaches her and unlocking her cell. He starts touching her, but she strikes him and tries to escape. She stumbles on the stairs, hitting her head and losing consciousness. After a while, when Tracy regains consciousness, she finds Aruda standing over her with a heated knife. He presses it against her face, burning her skin as she screams in pain. Then we see Aruda holding Tracy, her body dangling halfway inside the well. Just then, Lisa attacks Aruda from behind, striking his face and rushing to save Tracy. She manages to free her, and the two start running. While fleeing, Tracy steps on a nail, crying out in agony. Lisa quickly removes the nail, but Tracy continues to sob from the pain. Meanwhile, Aruda regains consciousness, surveys the scene, and notices the open passage and Rocco's half-devoured body. He hears a noise behind him and turns in anger, but immediately drops his weapon and leaves, revealing Goran standing before him. Goran lunges at Aruda, tearing into him and consuming his body. The scene shifts to Tracy and Lisa, desperately running. Suddenly, Marcus appears and in a shocking turn, shoots Tracy with his bow. He orders Lisa to enter the room with the painting. Inside, she finds everyone gathered, holding candles and waiting for midnight. Emma instructs Lisa to finish the painting before the clock strikes 12. Reluctantly, Lisa resumes painting, slowly revealing Emma's image on the canvas. As she continues, Marcus's face emerges, followed by the chant Emma used to capture Goran. Just then, Julia bursts into the room, yelling for everyone to step back as she threatens to set the painting on fire. Emma stops Julia. Julia angrily accuses Emma of trapping her in a little girl's body for centuries. Enraged, Emma commands Marcus to kill Julia. Before he can act, Lisa hurls cleaning solvent onto Marcus's face. Emma lets out a furious scream and shoots Lisa with an arrow. Just as Marcus moves to finish them off, moonlight floods the room. It touches everyone, transforming them into their true aged forms. One by one, they wither and die. Lisa and Julia watch in horror as Emma rapidly ages, crumbles into ashes, and vanishes. Then Julia begins to change. She turns to Lisa and says, "I have to go too." She rises as her body ages rapidly. Moments later, she disintegrates into ashes, leaving Lisa utterly alone. In pain, Lisa stumbles towards the door, trying to leave. Suddenly, Goran appears, heading straight for her. Panicked, she slams the door shut, but Goran begins pounding on it. Desperate, Lisa approaches the painting and starts scrubbing away the section containing the chant. Goran breaks through the door and storms into the room. Just then, Lisa begins reciting the chant from the painting. Goran lets out a deafening scream, leaving only silence as the scene fades to black. 30 years later, Lisa is seen in the mansion, still young. A woman enters and says, "The Prime Minister has arrived with his wife, and they're requesting more." Lisa gets up, making her way to the basement. Downstairs, we see a team of doctors and Goran, still alive but held captive. Lisa approaches and coldly instructs the doctor to increase production. Doctor takes a syringe and injects it into Goran's throat, eliciting a blood-curdling scream. Lisa watches for a moment, then turns and walks out of the room. The camera lingers on Goran's torment before fading to black, ending the movie. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the chills, hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss a scare. Until next time, stay spooky.